Arjun adjusted the straps of his backpack as he stepped off the small jungle path. The sun had just risen, sending golden light through the thick leaves above. Birds called from the trees, and the air smelled of wet earth. For weeks, Arjun had been following old maps and rumors from the villagers about a hidden Mayan temple. He had always loved adventure, but this time it felt different. Something about this temple called to him. He moved carefully over roots and fallen branches. The jungle was alive with sounds. Monkeys swung from trees, and insects buzzed all around. Arjun had been warned about the dense forests and sudden storms, but he felt ready. Every step brought him closer to the unknown. Hours later, he reached a clearing. In the center, partially covered by vines and moss, stood the ruins of a temple. Its stone walls were cracked and weathered by time, yet they still carried an air of power. Strange carvings decorated the surface. Arjun crouched to examine them. They were unlike anything he had seen before. Symbols and patterns twisted and turned, telling stories he could not yet understand. He carefully pushed aside the thick vines covering the entrance. A cool breeze flowed out, carrying the scent of damp stone. Arjun's heart raced. He had dreamed of discovering lost places like this, but the reality was more thrilling than he had imagined. He took out his notebook and started sketching the carvings. Each line and curve seemed to pulse with history. As he moved inside, the light dimmed. The walls of the temple were taller than he expected. Faint beams of sunlight came through cracks in the stones, illuminating parts of the floor. He noticed something strange. The center of the temple had a stone floor that looked different from the rest. It seemed smoother and slightly raised. Arjun knelt and brushed away dust and leaves. His fingers traced the lines of a square carved into the stone. It looked like a trapdoor. He pressed gently, but it did not move. His excitement grew. Could this be the entrance to a hidden chamber? Could the stories of secret rooms and ancient treasures be true? Night was falling, and the jungle grew darker. Arjun set up a small lantern and continued his work. He wanted to see everything before leaving. Then, something unusual caught his eye. A faint glow appeared from the edges of the stone square. It was soft and pulsing, almost like the heartbeat of the temple itself. Arjun's curiosity overcame caution. He examined the edges of the stone carefully. He pushed and tapped in different spots, listening to the hollow sound beneath. Finally, with a deep breath, he pressed his shoulder against the stone. It shifted slightly. He pressed harder, and with a slow grinding noise, the trapdoor opened. A cool, damp air rushed out. The space below was dark, but Arjun could see a staircase leading down. His lantern revealed stone steps carved carefully into the rock. Each step was wide and even. The air smelled old, like it had been trapped for centuries. He felt a shiver of excitement. This was it. The hidden passage the villagers had whispered about. Arjun descended slowly. The walls were covered with carvings, similar to those outside, but more intricate. Strange figures and animals twisted around each other. Some looked almost human, but others were unlike anything he had ever seen. He stopped often to take notes and sketches. The deeper he went, the cooler and quieter it became. It was as if the world above no longer existed. At the bottom of the stairs, he found a narrow corridor. It stretched far ahead, disappearing into darkness. He could hear the faint dripping of water somewhere deep inside. He felt a thrill mixed with fear. What if the stories were true? What if the room at the end of this corridor held secrets meant to stay hidden? Arjun held his lantern high and moved forward. The carvings on the wall seemed to tell a story. There were people, animals, and strange symbols that glowed faintly in the light. He paused to study them. The patterns did not match any known Mayan scripts. They seemed almost alive. After walking for several minutes, the corridor opened into a large chamber. Arjun stopped in awe. The room was massive, with a high ceiling he could barely see. The walls were covered with carvings, and in the center stood a large circular platform. The stone was smooth and polished. Around it were objects that looked like they belonged to a different world. Arjun stepped closer. His lantern revealed more details. Strange devices, carefully arranged, surrounded the platform. He had never seen anything like them. Some seemed to glow faintly. He touched one lightly, feeling a slight vibration under his fingers. His mind raced. How could the Mayans have created such technology? He moved around the room slowly, taking notes and photographs. Every corner held something new and fascinating. Arjun knew this discovery could change everything historians believed about the ancient civilization. He felt both excitement and responsibility. He was standing in a place no one else had seen for hundreds of years. As he explored, a soft hum filled the air. It was subtle at first, then stronger, as if the room itself was alive. Arjun froze and looked around. The carvings seemed to shimmer in the lantern light. He had no idea what this place was capable of, but he knew one thing. His adventure had only just begun. The hidden room was waiting to reveal its secrets, and Arjun was ready to uncover them. Arjun stepped carefully onto the circular platform at the center of the hidden chamber. The stone beneath his feet felt smooth and cold. The glow from the strange devices surrounding the platform grew brighter as he approached. He could not tell if it was reacting to him or if it had always shone like this. The carvings on the wall seemed to move in the lantern light, creating shapes that were both beautiful and puzzling. He circled the platform slowly, examining the objects. Some looked like they were made of metal, but they were unlike anything he had ever seen. Others were crystal-like, reflecting the lantern's light in colors that did not exist in nature. Arjun's mind raced with questions. How had the Mayans discovered such things? And why had they hidden them so carefully? At the far end of the room, he noticed a small doorway carved into the stone. It was half hidden by shadows, and faint symbols were etched above it. Arjun stepped closer. The doorway led to a narrow passage, darker than the main chamber. He held his lantern high and walked in. The air grew cooler, and he could hear a faint whispering sound. At first, he thought it was the wind, but it seemed to come from the walls themselves. The passage opened into another room, smaller but more intricate. The walls were covered with carvings showing people performing ceremonies. Arjun studied them closely. The figures wore masks and robes, and some carried objects that resembled the devices in the main chamber. The carvings told a story, but he could not understand all of it. There were strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the lantern light. As he moved further inside, the humming grew louder. It was soft but constant, like the steady pulse of a heartbeat. Arjun stopped in the middle of the room and listened. The sound seemed to resonate with his own heartbeat. He felt a strange connection to the place, as if it was aware of him. Suddenly, a faint light appeared near one corner of the room. Arjun squinted and saw a figure. At first, he thought it was a reflection from his lantern. Then the figure took shape. It was a holographic projection of a Mayan priest. The priest wore traditional robes and a headdress decorated with feathers. His eyes seemed alive, and his face carried a calm, serious expression. Arjun stepped back, amazed. He had read about ancient civilizations using light and mirrors, but this was far beyond anything he imagined. The priest raised a hand in greeting. A voice spoke, clear and strong, but not in a language Arjun recognized. To his surprise, he understood every word. "Welcome, traveler," the priest said. "You have found what many could not. This place is sacred. Only those with a pure heart may witness its secrets." Arjun swallowed. I mean no harm. I only want to learn." The priest nodded. "Your intentions are clear. But knowledge comes with responsibility. What you see here must guide you, not control you. Many who came before you failed because their hearts were not ready. The projection gestured toward the objects in the center of the room. These devices are not mere tools. They hold knowledge of the stars, the energies that flow through all life, and the wisdom of our people. They were meant to protect, to teach, and to guide. Arjun approached slowly. He could feel a subtle energy radiating from the artifacts. It was not dangerous, but it was strong enough to make his skin tingle. He reached out and touched one of the crystal-like objects. A soft vibration ran through his fingers. Images flashed in his mind: stars, planets, and symbols he could not name. He stepped back, overwhelmed. The priest's projection spoke again. The Mayans saw the world differently. We knew that life is connected to the universe in ways many cannot see. These chambers preserve our knowledge for those who are ready. You must learn, understand, and carry it forward. Arjun nodded, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He realized that the stories of the hidden room were true. This was not just a temple, it was a repository of knowledge, a link between the past and the future. He felt both excited and humbled. The priest moved to another section of the room and touched a wall. Panels shifted, revealing a small stone pedestal. On it rested a tablet with inscriptions unlike any he had seen. Arjun approached and read aloud the symbols. Some he could understand, others were mysteries. The priest's voice guided him. This tells of the energies that connect all living things. It shows how the stars influence life on Earth. Study it carefully. What you learn here must benefit humanity, not harm it. Hours passed as Arjun examined the chamber and its secrets. He sketched the carvings, noted the positions of the artifacts, and recorded everything he could. The holographic priest remained beside him, silent but attentive, as if guiding him without speaking. Finally, Arjun sat on the platform, exhausted but thrilled. He realized he had found something extraordinary. The hidden room was more than a secret, it was a bridge between the wisdom of the past and the potential of the future. He understood that his discovery was only the beginning. The priest's hologram raised a hand once more. Rest now, traveler. Tomorrow, the next steps will be revealed. You are ready for what comes, but patience is required. The journey is just beginning. Arjun nodded, feeling the weight and importance of the moment. He leaned against the cool stone, his mind alive with questions and wonder. The hidden room had revealed its first secrets, and he knew there were many more waiting to be discovered. Arjun woke early, the first light of morning filtering through cracks in the temple walls. The chamber was quiet, yet it felt alive. The artifacts around the circular platform glowed faintly, as if acknowledging his presence. He rubbed his eyes and took a deep breath. Today, he knew, he would learn more about the secrets hidden beneath the jungle. He stood and looked at the holographic priest. The projection had not faded, though it seemed softer in the morning light. The priest spoke immediately. The knowledge here is not meant for display. It is meant to guide. You must understand the purpose of each object and the wisdom behind it. Arjun nodded. I want to understand. I promise I will use this knowledge wisely. The priest raised a hand and pointed toward one of the devices near the edge of the platform. It was a smooth, metallic cylinder with symbols engraved along its surface. When Arjun touched it again, the soft vibration returned. Images appeared in his mind: constellations, flowing energy, and interconnected paths between stars and planets. It was like seeing the universe in motion. This device shows the flow of energy, the priest explained. It is the same energy that flows through all living things. The Mayans understood it long before others could. The patterns are a guide, a map to help those who seek harmony with the world. Arjun studied the device carefully. He traced the lines of the symbols with his fingers and felt the vibrations change. Each movement revealed new images. He realized that the artifacts were not just tools, they were lessons, teaching the principles of balance, life, and energy. The priest then directed Arjun to a large stone slab in the corner of the room. When he moved closer, the slab shifted under his touch, revealing a shallow cavity. Inside rested a small crystal shaped like a pyramid. Its surface pulsed gently with a soft light. Arjun picked it up and felt warmth spreading through his hands. This crystal holds memory, the priest said. It contains information of our people, our knowledge of the stars, and the wisdom of generations. But it can only be unlocked by one who seeks truth, not power. Arjun focused on the crystal. Images formed in his mind. He saw Mayan priests observing the night sky, marking patterns and building structures aligned with the stars. He saw ceremonies, not of harm, but of respect for nature and the universe. Every image brought a deeper understanding. He realized the Mayans had seen connections that modern science was only beginning to discover. As he explored the chamber, the humming of the artifacts grew louder. It was as if the room itself was responding to his curiosity and dedication. Arjun moved carefully between devices, each one teaching him something new. He recorded every detail, knowing that this knowledge could help humanity in ways no one else had imagined. Hours passed, and he finally approached the circular platform again. The holographic priest's eyes seemed to glow more brightly. The final lesson is not about tools or crystals, the priest said. It is about understanding, courage, and heart. True wisdom comes when knowledge is combined with intention and respect. Arjun listened closely. I understand. The knowledge is only meaningful if it is used to help, not to harm. The priest nodded. Good. But to continue, you must face a test. The chamber was built to ensure that only those ready can access its deepest secrets. The test is not of strength but of mind and spirit. Suddenly, the walls of the room shifted. Stone panels moved silently, revealing a narrow path leading to another section of the chamber. Arjun took a deep breath and stepped forward. The path was lined with more carvings, each showing symbols and patterns. As he moved, the symbols seemed to change. Some formed puzzles, some depicted challenges, and some displayed questions without words. Arjun worked through each symbol carefully. He touched them, observed the light, and thought deeply. The chamber responded, guiding him forward, but never making it easy. At one point, the floor beneath him shifted, forcing him to step quickly to avoid falling. At another, the walls formed a maze, testing his patience and focus. After what felt like hours, he reached the end of the path. The walls opened into a wide circular room, larger than the first chamber. In the center floated a soft, glowing orb. Arjun approached it cautiously. The orb pulsed with energy, and the humming reached its peak. He could feel the power, but it was not dangerous. Instead, it felt alive, intelligent, and welcoming. This is the heart of the chamber, the priest said. Here lies the knowledge of the universe. It connects life, energy, and stars. Only one who is patient, humble, and wise can access it. Arjun knelt before the orb, feeling its warmth. He closed his eyes and focused on the lessons he had learned. The hum changed, forming a rhythm that matched his heartbeat. He felt a connection, not just to the chamber, but to the universe itself. The priest spoke one last time. You are ready, Arjun. The journey of discovery continues, but now you know that wisdom is the greatest treasure. The chamber has chosen you to learn, to grow, and to share. The future depends on how you use what you have learned. Arjun opened his eyes and looked at the glowing orb. He realized that the hidden room was not just a place of secrets, it was a teacher. And he was its student. Arjun stayed kneeling before the glowing orb, feeling the pulse of energy flowing through him. It was gentle yet powerful, like the heartbeat of the universe itself. He realized that the chamber was more than a hidden temple, it was a repository of knowledge meant to guide humanity. The holographic priest's words echoed in his mind, wisdom is the greatest treasure, and it must be used with care. The orb shifted slightly, sending streams of light across the walls. The carvings responded, glowing with intricate patterns. Arjun reached out and touched the light. Suddenly, images and visions filled his mind. He saw the stars, planets, and constellations moving in perfect harmony. Lines of energy connected every celestial body to the earth, as if the universe itself was alive and breathing. "This is the network of life," the priest's voice said. "It flows through all living things, guiding growth, harmony, and understanding." The Mayans learned to read it, to follow its patterns, and to live in balance with the cosmos. Arjun studied the images carefully. He realized that the Mayans had not only observed the stars, they had understood the flow of energy connecting them. Each movement in the sky influenced the world below. Seasons, tides, growth of crops, and even the behavior of people were linked to the cosmic rhythm. The knowledge was vast, but it was also beautiful in its simplicity and logic. The holographic priest moved closer to the orb. "Now, you will see the artifact that holds the key to our greatest discovery. It is called the star crystal. It contains maps, instructions, and knowledge that will guide those who are worthy. But it must be used with respect and care." Arjun nodded. He felt both excitement and responsibility. The star crystal could change how humans understood the universe. He stepped closer to a small pedestal in the center of the room. On it rested a crystal shaped like a pyramid, glowing softly. Its surface reflected the light of the orb, and faint symbols floated around it. When Arjun touched the star crystal, a wave of energy passed through him. Images appeared in his mind, the Mayans building temples aligned with the stars, priests observing the night sky, and diagrams showing the flow of energy between planets. He saw how the artifact could guide humans to use energy without harming nature, to understand the universe without fear, and to live in harmony with all life. "This knowledge is powerful," the priest said. "It is not meant for domination. It is meant for guidance, for growth, and for discovery. Those who seek only personal gain will fail. The star crystal chooses its user based on heart, wisdom, and respect." Arjun felt a deep sense of purpose. He understood that the artifact was not just a tool, it was a teacher, a bridge between the past and the future. The visions showed him that humanity had potential far beyond what anyone had imagined. If used wisely, this knowledge could help humans explore the stars, protect the earth, and connect with life in ways never thought possible. As he continued to study the star crystal, the chamber seemed to respond. The hum grew softer, more harmonious, like a gentle song. Arjun realized that the temple itself was alive in a sense, reacting to those who approached it with respect. Every artifact, every carving, and every symbol was part of a greater design. The holographic priest spoke again. "You must remember this, Arjun. Knowledge without understanding is dangerous. The star crystal will guide you, but only if you act with patience, humility, and courage. You are now part of a chain that links our people to the future." Arjun nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. He spent hours exploring the room further, observing smaller devices and carvings that showed additional principles. He learned how the Mayans measured energy, calculated the paths of the stars, and recorded information for generations. Each lesson was clear and precise, yet it required thought and care to fully understand. By the time he paused, Arjun realized he had gained more than knowledge. He had gained insight, perspective, and purpose. The hidden chamber had tested him, guided him, and now prepared him for the greater tasks ahead. He could feel a connection to the ancient priests, the Mayans, and even the universe itself. The priest's projection began to fade slowly. "Rest, traveler," the voice said. "The next steps will reveal themselves when you are ready. You have learned much, but the journey is far from over. Trust in what you have learned, and the universe will guide you." Arjun carefully placed the star crystal back on its pedestal. He took one last look around the chamber, feeling awe and gratitude. He knew he had discovered something extraordinary, something that could change the course of humanity. The hidden room had revealed its secrets, and Arjun understood that the adventure was only beginning. He left the chamber slowly, retracing his steps through the narrow passages. The images of stars and energy patterns remained in his mind. The jungle outside welcomed him with the familiar sounds of birds and insects. But now, everything felt different. Arjun could see the world in a new light, connected to forces far beyond what he had imagined. As he stepped into the sunlight, he realized that his life had changed forever. The hidden chamber had shared its wisdom, and Arjun was ready to carry it forward. The Mayans' knowledge was no longer lost, and humanity had a chance to rise with understanding, courage, and respect for the universe. Arjun returned to the hidden chamber the next day, determined to continue his exploration. The jungle outside was alive with morning sounds, but inside the temple, a calm energy welcomed him. The glowing artifacts seemed brighter, as if encouraging him to learn more. He knew that the star crystal had revealed only part of the Mayans' wisdom, and he was ready for the next challenge. The holographic priest appeared immediately, his presence steady and reassuring. "You have learned much, Arjun. Now it is time to face the test. The chamber will challenge your mind, your patience, and your courage. Only those who understand themselves can unlock the deepest knowledge." Arjun nodded. "I am ready," he said. His voice echoed softly against the stone walls. The priest gestured toward a large stone door at the far end of the chamber. As Arjun approached, the door slowly opened, revealing a long corridor lined with carvings and symbols. The walls shimmered faintly, as if alive, guiding him forward. The first section of the corridor was simple, but as he moved deeper, the challenges became more difficult. Sections of the floor shifted beneath his feet, testing his balance and observation. Some paths were blocked by stone panels, requiring him to solve puzzles to proceed. The carvings on the walls were not just decoration, they were clues, showing patterns and instructions in a language of shapes and symbols. Arjun paused often, studying the symbols and thinking carefully. One puzzle required him to step on tiles in a specific order to open the next door. He traced the shapes with his hands, feeling the subtle energy flowing through them. Slowly, he discovered the correct sequence, and the door slid open silently. Further along, the corridor narrowed, and the walls formed a maze of stone. Arjun moved cautiously, paying attention to small markings that indicated the correct path. At one point, the walls shifted behind him, blocking the way he had come. He realized there was no turning back. Every choice mattered. He stayed calm, using logic and intuition to guide him. As he reached the middle of the corridor, he encountered a section with floating stones that hovered above the floor. The stones formed stepping points across a glowing pit. Arjun studied their positions carefully. Each stone pulsed with energy, some brighter than others. He realized he had to step only on the stones that matched a certain pattern revealed in the carvings. With slow, careful steps, he moved across, feeling the energy respond to his balance and focus. When he reached the other side, the corridor opened into a small chamber. Inside, a crystal pedestal floated in the center, surrounded by swirling light. The holographic priest appeared beside it. "This is the chamber of reflection," the priest said. "Here, you will confront your thoughts, fears, and intentions. Only those who are honest with themselves can proceed." Arjun approached the pedestal. As he did, images appeared around him, reflecting his own memories and choices. He saw moments of doubt, fear, and impatience. He also saw moments of courage, curiosity, and kindness. The chamber seemed to test him not physically, but mentally. He realized that the challenges of the temple were not just about puzzles, they were about understanding himself. He focused on the positive lessons he had learned. He remembered the purpose of the star crystal and the wisdom of the Mayans. The images around him changed, showing paths of light and energy connecting stars, planets, and life on Earth. Arjun felt a deep sense of connection. The chamber seemed to recognize his understanding, and the crystal on the pedestal glowed brighter. The holographic priest spoke again. You are learning, Arjun. The journey tests your mind and spirit, not just your strength. Remember that wisdom is earned through patience, courage, and respect. You have shown all three. Suddenly, the walls of the chamber shifted once more, revealing a final doorway. Beyond it lay a wide, circular room, larger than any Arjun had seen before. In the center floated a glowing sphere of light, surrounded by symbols that pulsed in harmony with the energy of the chamber. This was the culmination of the challenges, the reward for his focus and understanding. Arjun stepped forward, feeling a mix of awe and determination. He could sense that the sphere contained knowledge far greater than anything he had encountered so far. The energy around it was strong but gentle, like the rhythm of life itself. He reached out, feeling the flow of information passing into his mind. He saw star maps, energy currents, and patterns that explained the connections between life, Earth, and the universe. This is the heart of the knowledge, the priest said. You have passed the tests. You have shown patience, wisdom, and courage. Remember, what you learn here is meant to guide and protect, not to control or harm. The universe rewards those who respect it. Arjun knelt, absorbing the information. He realized that the challenges of the temple had prepared him for this moment. The obstacles, the puzzles, and the reflections had strengthened his mind and spirit. Now, he understood not just the knowledge of the Mayans, but the purpose behind it. After hours in the chamber, he rose, feeling a sense of accomplishment and responsibility. The journey had tested him, taught him, and connected him to something far greater than himself. The hidden temple was no longer a mystery, it was a teacher, and he was ready to carry its wisdom forward. As Arjun left the chamber, the glowing artifacts dimmed, returning to their calm state. The jungle outside welcomed him once more, but he felt different. He carried not only knowledge but understanding, courage, and respect. The challenges of the hidden chamber had prepared him for what lay ahead, and he knew the journey was far from over. Arjun stepped into the wide circular room, feeling a quiet excitement. The glowing sphere floated in the center, casting soft light on the walls. Symbols surrounding it pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. He realized this was the chamber of ultimate revelation, the place where the Mayans had preserved their deepest knowledge. The holographic priest appeared beside him. This is the culmination of the temple, the priest said. Here, you will see the connections that bind life, Earth, and the universe. The Mayans understood what few have imagined. What you see here is meant to guide, not to control. Arjun approached the sphere cautiously. As he reached out, waves of energy flowed into his mind. He saw stars moving in intricate patterns, planets linked by invisible threads of light, and currents of energy flowing through all life on Earth. Every movement was precise and harmonious. He understood, in a way that went beyond words, how everything was connected. The priest explained, these are the energies of creation, Arjun. They connect every living being, every planet, and every star. The Mayans observed, learned, and recorded this knowledge. It is meant to help those who are ready to understand the balance of the universe. Arjun knelt before the sphere. Images of Mayan priests performing ceremonies, observing the night sky, and building temples aligned with the stars appeared in his mind. He saw how every structure, every ritual, and every observation was part of a larger plan to understand cosmic energy. He realized that the knowledge preserved here was not only for survival but for harmony and growth. The sphere projected more visions. Arjun saw energy flowing through rivers, forests, and animals. He saw the patterns in the oceans, the movement of winds, and the cycles of the sun and moon. He understood that the Mayans had seen these connections and learned to live in balance with nature. This knowledge could guide humanity to a future of cooperation with the planet, rather than conflict. The priest spoke again. You have learned to read the stars and see the energy that flows through all things. The next step is understanding how to use this knowledge to guide humanity. The star crystal will help, but it cannot replace wisdom. Only those who combine knowledge with heart can achieve balance. Arjun lifted the star crystal from its pedestal. The soft light within it matched the rhythm of the sphere. He felt energy moving through his body, and his mind opened to new ideas. He saw how humans could harness energy without harming nature, how science and wisdom could work together, and how understanding the universe could prevent mistakes made in ignorance. As he focused, the holographic priest gestured toward the walls. The carvings and symbols shifted, forming a network of glowing lines that connected the entire chamber. Arjun saw that each artifact, each symbol, and each pattern was part of a grand design. The Mayans had left a map, not of territory, but of knowledge and energy. The priest said, "This chamber is more than a repository. It is a teacher. You must carry this understanding to the world, but carefully. Humanity must learn to respect the forces that bind life and the stars. You are the first step in that guidance." Arjun realized the weight of responsibility. He had uncovered secrets that could transform human understanding of the universe. He also understood the dangers if the knowledge was used carelessly. Wisdom, respect, and patience were as important as curiosity. The chamber had tested him for this reason, to ensure he was ready to carry the Mayans' legacy. He spent hours observing the sphere, the carvings, and the glowing lines. Each vision revealed more, yet he felt no fear or pressure. Instead, he felt clarity. The temple was teaching him, and he was learning quickly. He understood the principles of energy flow, cosmic balance, and interconnected life. Finally, Arjun stepped back and looked at the sphere. The holographic priest smiled. "You are ready to leave, Arjun. Remember, the knowledge is yours to guide humanity, but it is not for personal gain. Respect the balance, protect life, and share wisdom. The universe has chosen you to carry this understanding forward." Arjun placed the star crystal back on its pedestal. The sphere's glow dimmed slightly, returning to a calm pulse. He realized that the chamber had given him what he needed, not just knowledge, but understanding. He felt a connection to the Mayans, the temple, and the universe. As he retraced his steps through the corridor, the challenges he had faced before seemed less daunting. He understood their purpose now, to prepare him for the responsibility of this knowledge. Every puzzle, every shifting wall, and every reflection of his thoughts had been part of his growth. When he reached the main chamber, he paused to look around. The artifacts glowed softly, welcoming him. He realized that the hidden temple had been more than a discovery. It had been a journey of learning, testing, and connection. He felt ready to carry the wisdom of the Mayans to the world, guiding humanity toward balance with the universe. As he stepped toward the jungle outside, the sunlight filled the temple. Arjun knew that his adventure was far from over. The hidden chamber had revealed the secrets of the past, but the future depended on how he used them. With courage, wisdom, and respect, he would share the knowledge, helping humanity rise to its full potential. Arjun emerged from the hidden temple, blinking in the bright sunlight. The jungle stretched endlessly around him, green and alive. Birds sang, insects hummed, and the wind rustled the leaves. But for Arjun, the world felt different now. Every tree, every stream, and every star above carried a connection he could feel. The knowledge of the Mayans pulsed within him, a guide for his mind and heart. He returned to the nearby village first. The villagers had watched him with curiosity and hope, knowing he had ventured into the forbidden ruins. Arjun shared simple stories of what he had seen, careful not to reveal dangerous details. He spoke of the wisdom of the Mayans, their understanding of the stars, and the importance of balance and respect for life. The villagers listened in awe, sensing that what he described was more than legend. Arjun spent days in the village, teaching what he could. He demonstrated simple ways to observe nature, measure the movement of the sun, and predict changes in weather. He showed them patterns in rivers, forests, and animals, explaining how everything was connected. The villagers applied his lessons to their daily lives, improving farming, water use, and cooperation within their community. Arjun felt a deep satisfaction. The knowledge was already helping people live more wisely and harmoniously. But Arjun knew his journey could not end there. The knowledge he had gained could guide all humanity, not just the small village. He began documenting everything carefully. He wrote about the patterns of energy, the lessons of the star crystal, and the visions he had received in the hidden chamber. He drew maps of the stars, charts of energy flows, and diagrams of connections between life on Earth and the cosmos. Traveling to cities and research centers, Arjun shared the Mayans' wisdom with scientists, educators, and explorers. At first, many were skeptical. How could ancient Mayans understand so much about the universe? But when Arjun demonstrated the patterns, the energy flows, and the connections, people began to see the logic, the beauty, and the truth in his findings. The star crystal remained with him, carefully protected. It was a guide, not a tool of power. Arjun used it only to teach, to show, and to inspire. Slowly, humanity began to change. Researchers approached science with more respect for nature. Engineers designed technology that worked with the environment, not against it. People began to observe, understand, and cooperate in ways that had never seemed possible before. Arjun often thought back to the temple, the glowing orb, and the holographic priest. He remembered the tests, the puzzles, and the reflections of his own mind. He realized that the greatest challenge was not discovering knowledge but using it wisely. The Mayans had known that wisdom, courage, and respect were more important than tools or artifacts. Knowledge without heart could be dangerous, but knowledge combined with understanding could change the world. As years passed, Arjun's teachings spread farther. Communities across continents adopted the principles he had learned. People began to see the world as interconnected, understanding that their actions affected life, energy, and balance everywhere. Humanity learned to work with nature and with the cosmos, guided by the wisdom of an ancient civilization that had once been thought lost. Arjun also trained students, passing on the lessons of observation, patience, and respect. He told them stories of the hidden chamber, the star crystal, and the holographic priest, always emphasizing that the greatest power lay in understanding and compassion. His students grew to become teachers themselves, spreading the knowledge further, inspiring new generations to explore, learn, and care for the universe. Occasionally, Arjun returned to the jungle temple. The vines and trees had begun to reclaim the ruins, hiding the hidden chambers once more. But he knew the knowledge was safe. The temple had chosen him, and he had carried its wisdom to the world. The artifacts, the carvings, and the star crystal would wait for the next person who was ready to learn, just as they had waited for him. One evening, under a sky full of stars, Arjun stood quietly outside the temple. He looked up and remembered the visions of energy connecting every star, planet, and living being. He felt a deep peace, knowing that the Mayans' legacy was now part of humanity's journey. The universe was alive, connected, and full of potential. And he had been given the chance to help humanity see it. Arjun smiled and whispered a quiet promise. He would continue to teach, to learn, and to guide. The knowledge of the hidden chamber was a gift, not just of science, but of wisdom. It would inspire courage, patience, and respect for generations to come. Humanity had risen, not by force or conquest, but by understanding, by seeing the connections, and by learning to live in balance with the world and the stars. As the night deepened, the jungle around him was calm. The temple remained hidden, its secrets safe, waiting for the next seeker who was ready to learn. Arjun turned back toward the village, carrying the light of ancient knowledge, ready to guide humanity into a future shaped by wisdom, respect, and the endless wonder of the universe.